Okay guys, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about the time I almost got in a fight with a quiet kid. So this story time took place 2 years ago. I was in 8th grade, and this new kid came to school, and he was like, you could tell he was the quiet kid, I guess you could say. So he was in my engineering class, and I kind of get to know him, and he was like, he kept talking about how he had autism, all this weird stuff. And I was just like, okay, yeah, or whatever. I didn't really mind it that much because he was really smart and he acted normal. So that was the first day I met him. And the second day, I never really tried to bully him. I would always talk to him because he'd always sit next to me. Then he'd always think I'm trying to bully him. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So he's just being a little weird during that time. Then fast forward like the next month, starts off, go to school. He's there. I look at him in the hallways because I see him walk past me. So I look, and he looks at me, and he's acting all weird. I'm like, okay. He looks at me like the weirdest way. I was like, okay. So then we get into first period, and I start to talk to him, and then he starts looking at me, and he just like, you can tell he's mad. So I stop talking to him, and then me and my friends are like acting confused, like why is he acting weird or whatever. He's usually super chill and like goes with everything. Then we get into second period, third period, and then eventually get into fourth period, which is our science class, I think. And he sits literally right next to me, and he drops his papers. And back then I would always say, "Oh, you dropped something," like just to be that guy. And it was just like a little joke then. But I was actually being froze. He actually dropped something. But now, oh my god, he got so mad. He was like, I know. You don't have to tell me. I know. All right. I was like, okay, my bad. I was just trying to tell you drop something. And he's like, no, you weren't. You're trying to get me mad. You're being annoying. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, for sure. So that happens, and then in the after class, he goes to clean up all his stuff because our class, like, she ends the class right as the class ends. Like, she doesn't give us like a few minutes to clean up. As soon as the bell rings is when we start packing up. So he's rushing to pack up everything, and his stuff gets all over my area. So I like swipe it over to his end, and some stuff falls off, and he stops what he's doing, looks at me, and goes, Jaden, why? Why are you doing that? Stop messing and touching my stuff. I'm like, it got on my side. I just tried giving it back to you, and it just fell off the desk. My bad. And he goes, no, you did it on purpose. He always thinks I do everything on purpose. I'm just like, oh my god. So anyways, then we get over to lunch. And this is where climax is, the top. This is where everything really starts to happen. So he has like this crush, I guess you could say, on this girl. Let's call her Sophia. Sophia was just minding her business in lunch, sitting with her friends, and the kid, let's just call him Jeremy. So Jeremy goes up to her and gives her blueberries. And keep in mind, I sit inside, they were sitting outside. I did not know that happened. I did not know Jeremy gave Sophia blueberries. So I go outside, and she has blueberries, and she gives them to me. And I was like, okay. So I ate them. I didn't really like them, but I ate them. And then I see out the corner of my eye him like coming at me, like really like fast walking, like a power walk, like hands coming up and down as well. I'm just like, what does this kid want? Like, I'm starting to get annoyed with him. Like, I was cool with him, but I'm honestly starting to get annoyed with him. So he comes up to me, and he's like, did you just eat those blueberries? I'm like, yeah, why do you care? And he goes, I gave those to her. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? Like, she gave them to me. So, and then I ate them. And he's like, why would you eat them? You know how disrespectful it is? I gave them to her. You're such a disrespectful man. I actually don't ever want to talk to you again. I'm like, okay. So he ends up just staring. He sits there and stares at me, and I'm just like, why is you? I'm like, yo, you good? Like, why are you just sitting there and staring at me? And he just stands there and just stares at me still. And then slowly turns around, but still looks at me as he's turning around, and walks back to his table where you're sitting, still looking at me. Like, he turns his head and still looks at me. I'm just like, why are you still looking at me? And he's like, just keeps just walking. I'm like, okay, whatever. I look away. I talk to my friend. Then everything continues on like a normal day, and I just eat my lunch. Everybody eats their lunch. It's whatever. Then right after lunch, I'm at my locker, and my friend from the crazy video. Him, yeah, he's with me too. And the kid comes up to me, Jeremy comes up to me with his pencil in his hand, like gripping it so tight. Like I've never seen somebody grip it so tight in my life. I'm like, okay. And I look at him, and he's just staring at me, and he has his finger pointing at me, and he's like shaking like crazy. Like he's like shaking. Like if he were to talk, he'd be like, It was so weird. He was shaking. I'm like, yo, you good? He's like, you're gonna pay for that. And I'm like, pay for what? And he goes, eating those blueberries. And then he starts charging at my friend from the last video, the crazy friend video or whatever. He starts charging at him with the pencil. So my friend drops his binder, because we would carry around binders and everything, grabs his hand and like books him, like, stops his books out of his hand, and then pushes him against the brick wall. And I'm just like, oh, what is going on? I'm like, Mason, chill. And he's like, he was just charging at me. I was like, okay, whatever, fine. So I was just like, I'm mind boggled. I'm like, what is going on? Then he strips away from him, and then what's it called? He starts charging back at me, and then I grab his pencil out of his hand, and then like I kick his leg, and he kind of like stumbled and everything. It was just such a weird and awkward situation. I honestly did not know what to say. And after that happened, I was just like, okay, well, what's going on now? Like, why did this just happen? And so that's pretty much the end of that story time. It's basically one thing you should honestly get out of the story time. I guess, not to talk ever to the quiet kid and leave the quiet kid being the quiet kid. You feel me? Yeah, so if you did enjoy this video, leave a like, subscribe, check my socials down in the description below, and see you guys in the next video. Peace, homies. One last thing I would like to add is, if you were to want to stay watching and watch the gameplay from beginning to end or whatever, because I went off in this gameplay. This gameplay is actually pretty crazy. If you'd like to watch, that'd be pretty cool, I guess. I'm gonna start streaming like Among Us and maybe some Modern Warfare on Twitch, and my link is in the description. Adios, homies.